What's going on YouTube? While the A8 occupies the official flagship mantle of the Audi sedan lineup, the A7 is effectively a co-flagship for those of you who would rather have sensual good looks and sportier performance. That's why we're happy to finally be out at Audi of Lexington to check out this fully loaded A7 in Mythos Black Metallic. And of course, if you're in the market for any new Audi, be sure to stop by their dealership or visit them via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with that said, let's see if the A7 is the best four-door coupe money can buy. So getting started with the exterior design, Audi took all the characteristics that made the outgoing model so attractive and amplified them. For instance, it looks much wider than before thanks to the new elongated grille, even though it's not actually any wider than it was. And speaking of the grille itself, as of now, every model gets this black grille with chrome trim, though I imagine they will eventually add some kind of black optic package. One of the things that do change are the headlights, which are actually different on every trim level. The shape itself stays the same, but the Premium has the basic LED design, the Premium Plus has the upgraded Matrix design, and then this Prestige comes with the full Matrix headlights, complete with laser lights and the really neat entry and exit animations. The last thing I want to mention is the S-Line group, which enlarges these lower intakes and makes them more aggressive. Thankfully, Audi also didn't mess much with the side design, which continues to be super sleek thanks to the Sportback body style. That's also what makes it look distinctly different than its traditional rivals in the rear as well, like the Mercedes CLS. It's able to slope at exactly the same angle all the way to the end, which does also make for a great place to hide the power deploying spoiler. And as far as the rest of the rear, you do have full width LED taillights and dual exhaust pipes that are hidden. So all in all, the A7 continues to be not only one of the best looking Audis, but honestly one of the best looking vehicles on the road, period. Now that's especially true when you get the A7 with 20-inch wheels like this one has. Every trim does come standard with the same 19s, but these 20s as well as some insanely large 21s are also available. And then checking out the mirrors, they are always heated and auto dimming, though you do need at least the Premium Plus for blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert and power folding. As far as the other safety systems, the A7 has pretty much everything you could imagine. Automatic forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection is always standard. Premium Plus and up get auto high beams and rear auto braking. And then finally, the driver's assistance package unlocks intersection assist, turn assist, and adaptive cruise assistant, which is basically a hands-on autonomous driving system. These are some of the most advanced systems available on the market today. And finally, the last thing to look at on the outside is the large 19.3 gallon fuel tank. It is good for 483 miles of range on the expected premium unleaded fuel. But anyways, that's it for the outside. So now let's go ahead and check out all the luxury and tech Audi has added to the cabin. Of course, every A7 does come standard with the Audi Smart Entry system, as well as their newest key fob design, which is a little bit more slender, and you do have real metal trim down here at the bottom. Now, of course, to get inside the vehicle, all you've got to do is grab behind the handle, and there's a sensor. And one thing I want to point out right off the bat here is that the A7 does come with the frameless glass windows here, and also on the Prestige level, you've got the auto closing doors. So if you fail to close it, it'll go ahead and suck it in for you. But anyways, checking out the cabin of the all-new A7. As you can see, it bears a strong resemblance to the newest Audi models, the A6, A8, as well as the Q8. Now as far as your interior choices, you do have a ton, as you would expect. So all models are going to come with this premium leather seating. However, you can get Balcona leather optional on the Premium Plus and Prestige if you go for the multi-contour seating package. But regardless of whether you choose that package or not, you've got 4 color options. This black, Okapi brown, pearl beige, or sarder brown. Additionally, your woods are customizable. So you've got 3 choices: fine grain ash, natural dark brown walnut, or if you go for that seating package, you're gonna get fine grain birch wood. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is nicely appointed. As you can see on this model, we have the soft touch plastic with stitching. However, if you go for the seating package, it does include extended leather, which comes onto the armrest as well as various other places in the cabin. We do have a lot of generous use of open pore wood as well as real aluminum through here. And you do have standard 2-person memory seating as well. Now of course, all 4 of your windows are one-touch automatic. Now turning over here to your seat, it is 12-way power adjusting with 4-way lumbar support as the standard option, or if you go for the upgraded seats, you're going to add massaging. And then like I was saying, this is your standard premium leather. Feels really nice. You do have really nice color contrast stitching, and then you have the option of the Balcona leather. First, looking around the cabin, you'll definitely notice that everything in here has a really upscale vibe. And in addition to that, the materials are not much different that you'll find on the flagship A8. So across the upper part of the dash, you do have a soft touch plastic with color contrast stitching. And then dropping down here to the middle part, you'll notice a really beautiful piece of open pore wood that runs all through here. Of course, the center part is made from a piano black to blend with the screens. And then dropping down, you'll find more real aluminum and open pore wood, as well as another generous swath of leatherette with color contrast stitching. Of course, you do have standard push button start located right here. And when you press that, you'll notice the brand new MMI Touch system boot up. Now this does vary a little bit based on the trim, so you'll always have an 8.6-inch lower display. However, the top display is 8.8 inches on the Premium, and this 10.1-inch setup for your Premium Plus and Prestige. You also notice over here your virtual cockpit 2.0 system. It's still 12.3 inches, but the graphics are a little bit different and the processing is a little bit more powerful than the older virtual cockpit. But you can still do all the same things, so you can scroll through all the standard fare things, as well as go to your map, and then shrink your gauges down and make it, the large display. And if we had the Google Earth map activated, that would appear here as well. In addition to that, at Prestige level, you will also notice a head-up display as well. But anyways, coming back to the steering wheel, you do have electric power assisted steering, and all models do come with this beautiful leather wrapped steering wheel. Your buttons are finished in piano black, and like I said, these go with the virtual cockpit. And then on this side, you have your standard phone, voice, and audio controls. Up top here, you will also notice that every A7 comes standard with rain sensing wipers. Moving on down here, we have the driver's assistance package. So this is adaptive cruise control. And our steering wheel is power adjusting on the Premium Plus and Prestige, as well as heated since we have the cold weather package. Now moving on to interior storage, the A7 does pretty decently for a vehicle of this size. So starting out over here with your center console, just lift this up. As you can see, you've got a decent amount of space. It is very well finished and a nice felt. And then this portion here does act as a wireless phone charger. Additionally, you do also have 2 USB ports as well. And then in typical Audi fashion, this does adjust so you can have various, height settings. Up in front of that, you've got a couple of cup holders as well as a 12-volt outlet. And then one thing I do want to point out is over here, where a lot of brands have tiny little coin trays, Audi actually includes a really deep storage area. You can stick like your full driver's manual in there, or anything else that you wanted to put there. But anyways, they are giving you that much storage because you do have an electronic shifter that continues to double as your shifter and both your armrest for the bottom display here. So to get into drive, all you gotta do is pull back, and then you can bump over here to the right to shift manually right here, or by using the standard paddle shifters. Going into reverse, you will notice a standard backup camera up here, or if you've got the Premium Plus or Prestige, you're going to find this 360-degree camera system. Now I've shown you this in some of the recent Audis. It's a really advanced system for 2 main reasons. First, you'll notice when I twist, the camera actually turns with the trajectory, so that's really handy. But the coolest thing is when I hit the 3D button, I now have a 3D rendering of the vehicle, and I can simply go here and go all the way around the vehicle and see everything surrounding it from like a drone view. It's very neat. Only a few automakers have this at this point, and it's super handy for parking, so you should never have any problem with that. But you also have auto parking ability for both parallel and perpendicular spots. And then coming back for park, all you gotta do is press the P. And then you do also have an electronic parking brake. But anyways, now that brings us up to our audio system. On this particular A7, we've got the middle tier sound system. So on your base models, you're going to come with a 180 watt 10 speaker audio system. Premium Plus and Prestige, however, comes standard with a Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system with 16 speakers and 705 watts. However, on Prestige, you've got the option of getting an even more powerful 1820 watt 19 speaker Bang & Olufsen Advanced 3D sound system. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a sample of this one. Sound quality of this system is extremely strong, so you definitely won't need that extra sound system unless you're a real audiophile. But anyways, moving on from that, take a look here. We've got our parking sensors right here. This basically just toggles different zones of driver's assistance and just how strong you want your systems. And then above that, you'll notice another row of buttons. This one right here is the one I'll click on. This is for your drive mode select. So you've got 3 different modes, as well as an individual mode that you can click into. So when you click that little pencil there, this allows you to change the drive and the steering to whatever you prefer. And then now we'll go ahead and check out this bottom display here. This is primarily used for climate controls. So for your climate control system, all models come with a 3-zone automatic climate control system, except for the Prestige, which actually comes with 4 zones. So to turn it on, you can just click the little button right there. As you can see, everything pops up. And then since this is a touch display, I can simply do things like swipe up and down to set the temperature, as well as my fan speeds. When I click into that, this gives me my zone options, so I can choose which zones I want. There is also the ability to adjust the rear climate as well, or they can do it from the back with their own set of climate controls. Also right in this area, we've got the 3-stage heated seats, which are standard equipment. And then there's also 3-stage ventilation, which is an option. Moving on from that, we've also got another row of virtual buttons with a few more features. This turns off your auto start stop. These buttons here serve as your home link universal remotes. This button here is what also deploys your rear spoiler on the A7, and then that turns off your display. But anyways, these two screens actually work together to make the total MMI Touch Response system. But we'll go ahead and jump right into this main display now. Alright, so getting into your brand new MMI Touch Response system. This of course is totally different than what you find in the outgoing A6, since we now have a touch screen where we previously could only use like a wheel or whatever to control the system. Now Audi brags about making this system very tablet-like, and I will agree with them. It is simple to get used to. It kind of reminds me of an Android tablet. So here on your main screen, you've got your applications conveniently laid out, and then you have some shortcut buttons that go along the side here. Heading into navigation, this is, of course, an Audi staple, having your full Google Earth maps. They look beautiful on this main display as they do on the virtual cockpit. As you can see, you've got the full control, including the tilt and 3D buildings. Of course, you do also have your phone applications on board, so you've got both Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. And for the Apple CarPlay, it is worth noting it is wireless Apple CarPlay, so not very many brands offer that, and that's pretty nice to have. But honestly, there's like a million different features of this system. I'm not going to have time to go through all of them right now. However, we do have a dedicated tech help video available for those of you who want to learn more. A link to that is in the video description. Now moving on up, you will notice a standard auto dimming mirror with built-in compass, and then your HomeLink universal remotes are built in down there like I already pointed out. And then you will also notice a standard panoramic moonroof. So as you can see, this goes all the way back until the point where the roof line starts to slope downward. So you have a really big opening, lets in a lot of wind, and you do have a wind buffer as well. But overall, I'm just as impressed with this A7's cabin as I was with the A8 and the A6. It's simply a wonderful place to spend time. There's so much space in here, extreme levels of luxury, and now you've got really advanced technology. It just makes for a really great, all-encompassing luxury experience. And when you get in and out, you will notice that the seat and steering wheel do move to help you have an easier entry and exit. But anyways, now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason, who will finish up the rest of the cabin.
Alrighty, so checking out the rear seat of the all-new 2019 Audi A7, you're going to find a larger than average amount of space. It's rated at 37 inches of rear legroom and 37.1 inches of rear headroom, which does mean that that sloping roofline doesn't really cost you much in terms of space. Now, it is worth noting that's a little bit smaller than the Audi A6, but it is bigger than the Mercedes CLS. Now, turning over here to your door, it is a beautiful design. So you do, of course, have this frameless glass window, as well as a leather-wrapped armrest. It's also leather right above here. a solid piece of metal, beautiful wood trim, and it's even stitched leatherette up at the top. You do have a nice metal door handle, and down below that you do even have a little bit of storage. Now the seat itself is of course gorgeous, so you have the perforated leather back here as well as the color contrast stitching. Now here in the center of the A7 Prestige, you are fully loaded up with features. So all models will of course get these rear vents, just like any Audi. However, for the Prestige A7, you will also get 4-zone climate control. So each rear passenger can adjust their own temperatures just by swiping up. It's really simple. It's really very intuitive. And you can also adjust your fan speeds for each passenger. Now it is worth noting that the standard A7 does have 3-zone climate control, it's just not the 4-zone. Now in addition to that, you will also find 3-stage heated rear seats available in the cold weather package. And down below that you will find 2 charging USB ports as with any new 2019 Audi, and a 12-volt power outlet. And on the center you do have a nice armrest. It does fold down nicely, it's leather wrapped, and does have a little storage compartment inside. Now your cup holders do pop out. And up top, in typical Audi fashion, you have LED lighting, as well as a really nice headliner, and some of that panoramic moonroof. You do also have vents on the B-pillar, and as far as the rear space is concerned, behind Drew's seating position, I have plenty of it. Like I said, this is bigger than the Mercedes CLS, so I probably have about 8 to 9 inches of rear legroom, and Audi was nice enough to give you these knee cutouts. Also, my feet can easily slide up under the seat, and scooting over, with the seat scooted all the way back, it is a little bit limited in terms of space, but the knee cutouts do help a lot. But overall, there is nothing to complain about in the A7's rear seat. This is fully loaded and it has tons of luxury features and amenities, and you really don't sacrifice any space to get that beautiful design. Now in the A7, the seats do fold, so all you have to do is locate this little lever, and they will fold right down, and it is 40-20-40 split. A hands-free power tailgate is standard equipment on the A7, so all you have to do is wave your foot under the bumper. So as you can see, even though the A7 does kind of look like a sedan, it is a hatchback. So you have this big power tailgate that lifts up, and that does give you a ton more space here in the rear. So it's actually rated at 25 cubic feet, which is a huge improvement from the Audi A6 sedan, and it's right on par with that of the Mercedes CLS. Now Audi does also give you a nice cargo cover back here, and they do finish everything really nicely. So you have a little carpeted area over here, and if you want, and you do also have some LED lighting. Now under the cargo floor here, if I can get all these mats up, you will find a spare tire. So overall, this is a really big improvement from a regular sedan, and this is one of the biggest features about the Audi A7. And to shut it, just push the button. Now the passenger seat is that same beautiful design as the driver's, and of course it is also power adjusting, just like the driver's, and you do even have 4-way power lumbar support. Now it is worth noting that it would have memory seating if you got the individual Contour package. Now in front of the passenger, of course, you have beautiful materials. So you have a leatherette stitched dashboard, as well as these nice vents, beautiful wood trim, some real Quattro branding, and down below that you have a really nice glove box. It's really nicely felt lined. It's also very good sized and has some LED lighting. Now up top, we do have a nice sun visor. It does have LED lighting and a mirror. Can also detach and extend. But anyway, guys, that sums up all of the rear areas of the Audi A7. So now let's go ahead and check out the powertrain and do a quick test drive. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk a bit about the powertrain. So for the A7, you've got one option, that is until you eventually will get an S7 and RS7, I'm sure. But for now, we just have the A7 with the 3-liter turbocharged V6, making 335 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. That is right in line with the new CLS 450. Now the big thing about this powertrain is it actually is a mild hybrid setup, just like we've seen in the A6, Q8, and A8. So you've got a 48-volt starter generator and a small lithium-ion battery pack, and that basically powers your advanced auto start-stop, so the engine shuts down at idle and it shuts down even while coasting. It also powers your in-car electronics, and it can be charged up with the brake regeneration. As far as your transmission, you do have a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic, and that is paired exclusively to Quattro all-wheel drive. And all these things together combine to give it a really great 5.2 seconds 0 to 60. So that's pretty strong quick, for sure. Of course, the base setup, like I said. And then finally, since there is only one powertrain, there's only one fuel economy rating. So all models are rated at 22 city, 29 highway, 25 combined, which is 1 mile per gallon less than a CLS 4MATIC. But anyways, that's pretty much it. So we'll go ahead and take it for a quick drive. Now this happens a lot with lower volume luxury vehicles, but this particular A7 is actually already sold. So I won't be able to give you a full test drive, but we'll give you a little taste of it just right around this property here. We did pretty extensively drive the A6, and they do drive very similarly. So we might put in some footage of that as well to give you all a little taste. So there's the auto start stop system. Yeah. I have to say, with the mild hybrid, Audi has developed probably the smoothest auto start stop system in the business. I mean, you can not even feel it turn on and off. Like I said, it can even turn off while you're coasting. So like when you're coming up to the place, you'll actually see that it will engage the auto start stop. And like I said, it will seamlessly come back on in a way that you can't even tell that it happened. But yeah, as we experienced in the A6 and the A8, this powertrain is really strong. Acceleration right off the line is really powerful, really smooth as well. This is a quiet car, so you'll have to wait for the S6 or the RS7 or S7 to get that real exhilarating like engine sound and stuff like that. This is definitely on the quieter side. However, you will notice that it is sportier than something like the A8, you know, in a similar price point. This is definitely the more sensual, more sporty, more athletic option if you're going to spend $85,000 on an Audi sedan. I also want to talk about the steering. In your typical Audi fashion, it feels really good. It's super quick responding.
just slight turn off center, you get immediate response, and it feels really buttoned down. We're just in the normal mode right now. We'll try out the other modes here in a second. But even in our comfort setting here, the steering is very fast and feels very buttoned down. Alright, so I just changed the drive mode into dynamic and sport, so we'll see if that changes anything. Definitely holds your revs up higher, gives you that more sporty sound and feel. Throttle response is a little bit more sensitive as well, and the steering I can definitely feel has tightened up. So the whole way through the cycle, you've got a tight turn. Now it is worth highlighting, this has your 7-speed dual clutch automatic, like the A4, versus the 8-speed auto you find in the A8 and most of the other vehicles that share this powertrain. So that's designed in itself just to be sportier, of course. And that gives you more of that kick when you're driving and whatnot. Really has a cool sound too.
Yeah, it has like almost a whine to it.
Yeah, you can hear the turbo. Yeah.
These sports sedans do a really, really good job of, if you want them to be a sports car, you can make them a sports car, but if you just want comfort, it's also a super comfortable car. We haven't touched much on the fact that this car, if you just cruise down the highway or whatever, this is an extremely comfortable car. The seats are amazingly comfortable. If you opt for the higher end trims, you could even be getting a massage in the process. And, it's very quiet in here, it's very refined. You can tell that Audi has spent a lot of time making this car the best of both worlds.
Yes, exactly. But overall, like Mason said, that's really what I would characterize this car as being. It's a vehicle that lives in two different worlds. This is, in this class, you've got to be comfortable, you've got to be luxurious, but you got to play when the owner asks you to play. And this is a car that's comfortable with all those things. You've got a sporty dual clutch, you've got a good sounding engine, a lot of power when it's time to play around. But then you can just kick it into normal mode, kick it into comfort, and you've got a smooth transmission, smooth ride, and then just a comfortable cruising vehicle.
Alrighty, so as far as the pricing of the A7 is concerned, obviously this is a little bit more expensive than the Audi A6, but not by too much. So the starting price for any A7 is $68,000 for the very base premium model. Now as you go up the trim levels, you have the typical Audi trim levels, so the Premium Plus goes up to $72,400, and then you have the fully loaded Prestige, which is what we have here, and that starts at $76,300. Now, there still are quite a few options, even if you go for that top-end Prestige model like what we have. And so we have optional paint. This is Mythos Black for $595. Now, we do have the driver's assistance package, which adds in all of the crazy driver's assistance features like traffic jam assist, and that rings in at $2,750. In addition, we do have the S-Lane package for $1,000, which adds in some special exterior styling. We have 20-inch wheels for $800. the cold weather package, which is the heated steering wheel and heated rear seats, for $600. We have Audi beam rings for $450, as well as the Audi guard protection kit for $310, and paint protection for $175. And then finally we have a $995 destination charge on this model, and that makes our total $83,975. So obviously this is pretty expensive in the grand scheme of things, but this is a beautiful car. It's right in line with the CLS and all of its competitors, and you do get quite a few benefits over the regular A6 model going to the A7.
Well guys, we've enjoyed watching one of the first in-depth looks at the 2019 Audi A7 Prestige. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.
Mm-hmm.